Welcome back, everyone. Starwing 7. So today I am working on the requested video. So shout out to some of the people in Discord that had sort of requested this. I know Dave the DGen, he actually tagged me, specifically asking if I could do some sort of test run kind of idea around this. So what I've got cooked up here for you guys today, if we take a look, I've got these 3 cool cats laid out, and what we're going to be doing is testing the 3 different buttons. Now I don't really have an easy way to test the max, but if we just assume the max is going to be a very large skewed towards like what the 100x is, then we can sort of extrapolate how efficient it's going to be. But essentially what we're going to be doing is taking the 1x value maximum, which is 5, and I'm putting it into an Excel sheet over here. So I'll run you through what I've got for the Excel sheet. We've got the theoretical max, right? So trial 1, I'm just putting what the 1x is going to add for the max, and then times 310, right? So this is going to give us the total that it could achieve if we rolled 100% perfect. And then I'm going to input what the actual roll is based on 1x, 10x, and the 100x to give us an idea of the percentage total, right? So that way we could take the percentage total and put it into our trials, right? So we'll have trial 1, trial 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to get the average roll percentage. And this should give us a definitive answer as to which of the leveling up methods is better, right? So it should tell us if the 1x or the 10x or the 100x is going to result in a better score over these 5 different rolls. Now, my hypothesis being probably 10x is going to be the most efficient when it comes to a good roll plus your time. But if you have extra time, I'm likely going to say that the 1x is going to result in a better roll for you. Now, this is done on a quality 1 cool cat. So as the quality goes up, I have a feeling like we will also see the increase in a potential the theoretical max will also increase. And I have a feeling that the potential for the 1x and the 10x's to be drastically outperforming the 100x is going to also increase. So if you guys are interested, maybe I could increase my pool size here and do some quality 4 testing or something like that on some cool cats. Actually, we'll see how long this video takes. Maybe at the end I'll do some merging real quick, get a couple of quality 4s on these same cool cats, and then move forward as well. So let's just jump right into it. So let's designate this one. We'll do the 100x's on this. So let's just put in the 100x, and then we'll finish it off with our 1x's. And that's going to get us to 1,530. So let's go put that in. 1530. Now I'm not too sure if it's a 0 or not, but this does get us over the 50%. So not too poor on that. Let's go to this one, and we're going to do the 10x's. So we'll pound these out as quick as possible, see what we can get. So far it looks like it's trending fairly decent, right? I think we're hitting some pretty good rolls here, so chances are we could probably see this being a little bit higher. I'm going to say probably about 1.65, maybe 1.67. Oh, there we go. We made it to 1.7. So far so good. Definitely outperforming. So we got 1.74. So we'll just keep the end number there even. I'm assuming it's a 0. Like I said, we don't really know what that last is. So there we go. We've already got a 7% difference. And then let's go and do this one. Now, this is going to be a long one. But typically for myself at least, what I like to do is the 1x's on my big businesses. Now, something like a Cool Cat, these low quality Cool Cats, they're not really doing much for your city when it comes to producing gold or cash, I guess, in this sense, since I'm at titanium. So to me, I strictly just do 100x's on my Cool Cats. At the end of this video, I'll do a quick show off of what my city looks like, and it's not very big. I've pretty much got everything removed off my lands. So, this is definitely going to be tedious. Let's see. So, yeah, this is going to be 610 clicks. Thank God. It's only going to be 5 trials of this. Maybe if we're getting some decent results that show the major difference between them, I might just stop it at 3, just to see how much the video actually takes up. Because this is going to be a long clicking, just to get these 1x's done. But again, this is where, if we had a higher quality business, you would see that it would be a range of like 1 to maybe 8, something in that range, right? So that would be allowing you to potentially roll a 6, a 7, or an 8 on your income rolls, as well as the 5, 4, 3, and 2 that these ones provide. So with that higher income, doing these 1x's could potentially get you a lot better rolls. Same with those 10x's, because you're getting a lot more opportunities above what a 100x leveling style would permit you to be able to get those higher rolls, right? So, for example, if you did just your 6 100x's and you rolled pretty much middle of the pack the whole time, or maybe you only rolled 100, then you got 400, then you got a 300, then you got the 500. It sort of, evens out there at that 50%, like we saw in the first one so far. But the bigger issue comes down when you start doing like 10x's, because a 10x is going to be 10 more rolls basically in per 100x, right? So you're getting 10 rolls to each one roll for the 100s, and then you're getting 100 rolls for each 1x roll when you compare it to your 100x. So that's where it's just the law of averages. You're able to hopefully average out a little bit better. So far I would say we're probably nearing the 70% mark here. This is looking like it might roll a little under what the 10x rolled, but it should be above what we did with the 100x, I would think. Let's just get this last little bit here. We got about 160 more to roll, 160 more clicks. If you feel like it, you can donate to my carpal tunnel funds. That'd be greatly appreciated. All right, so here we go. We're about, 100 less than what we would be with the 100x, but we still have 100 rolls to go. So chances are, I don't think we're going to roll higher than what we rolled with the 10x. So maybe that'll chalk up one win for the 10x so far. But we definitely have passed the 100x leveling, which is good. So now let's see if we can get up to the level of the 10x. But again, this is where, doing this on Cool Cats might not be the best example, but it's really the most advantageous for myself. So this is going to help me a bit as well. Okay, there we go. So we are above the 10x now. And let's see if we can hit 180 or 1.8. There we go. So 1.82. Let's put that in, 182. So that's pretty close to the 60%. So what we'll do then is we're going to put in 59, 57.67 and 57.05 and then 50.16. There we go. Okay, so that's the first trial done. Now let's go and we'll upgrade this one, and we've got 48 as the max end. So let's put in 48. That gets us 29,280 as the max that we could potentially get. And then let's do, might as well keep them all the same. Let's do the 100x on the same one we did the 100x on last time. Actually, you know what? We'll randomize it. I think that's the better way to go. So let me upgrade this one. This was the 10x last time, so let's do the 100x on it. And finish off with these last few clicks. Okay, so the 100x is done, and we are at 20.35. 100x, so that is 2350. So that actually, that was a really good roll for that. That might be hard to beat, but we'll see. Okay, now I'm going to do the 1x's just to get this over and done with. The long, arduous task of doing 1x's on a cool cat. Definitely not recommended. These are ones I would, like I said earlier, 100% recommend doing the 10x's, or, you know, if they're really just prestige requirement businesses, which typically that's what they're used for, you would just be doing 100x, finishing it off, putting it up to the next prestige. Myself, I really bring these up to maybe like 210, so that way it's just a nice, you know, easy 100x click away, right to the next prestige, and then you can move on. You know, I don't even keep mine on my lands at all at this point because of the play style that I'm doing. But again, that's you know, everybody has their own choice when it comes to playing main city. If you're interested in boosting your diamonds and that's what your main focus is, then, you know, typically you're going to have as many business combos set up as possible. As you can see, we're on my first land in the Stygian Storm, so I only have 3 businesses, and that's only because I'm doing a test trial for you guys. All right, so what was the number we had to beat? Let's just say 20,400-ish. So this should hopefully get us, I mean, that was some really good rolls. So, I mean, this is where we might see some skewed averages, because if you do hit a couple good 100x's in a row, that's where you're going to get some really high rolls. But again, that's not going to be guaranteed. I mean, you're more guaranteed, I think, to roll on average at the 50% like we saw with the last one. Okay. So we're nearing the halfway point here. So if we're able to extrapolate, we're probably going to be maybe close to 20. I'm thinking maybe we're going to land around 19 with this. But we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to drop down in the comments below what type of leveling style you like. I know, you know, a lot of people prefer the 10x because it is quicker, frees up a little bit more of your time, so you're not always tied to main city. You know, people that are playing fairly regularly will primarily do the 1x, especially on their, you know, top 2 or top 3 businesses. That way they can maximize, or at least what they believe maximizes their gold rolls. But, you know, there could be some truth when we finish this test trial here to show that, you know, maybe the best is just stick with your 10x's. Might end up rolling better. So yeah, we are a little bit over half there. Now we're coming up to about 60%. Just keep clicking. Just keep clicking. Switch hands here. yeah, I mean, if you guys want to share some of the information, what you guys are running as your main businesses, if you feel like sharing that, or if you want to keep it secret. I know a lot of people prefer to keep their strategies as secret as possible. For myself, I try to keep some of the stuff, a little bit secret, but for the most part, I do share, obviously, on YouTube quite a bit of my strategy. So there's not really too many secrets there from me. But if it's something you want to keep by yourself, without sharing with anybody. But again, if you do want, join the Legion Discord down below, or if you're in Main City, the City Plaza, you can always ask me some questions. In the City Plaza, there's a lot of other good people there that you can discuss tactics with. There's a lot of people always doing the cub hunt. So when that's on, that's always a good time to hop in there and see if you can poke some of the top 10's brains there. They might be more than willing to, share some of their information. They're not going to tell you too much of what they're running, because that is a very competitive position. For myself, I'm less in a competitive area, so I'm not stressing too much when it comes to my city and the strategy. I think what I'm doing right now is putting me on pace to hopefully get into like the top 25. That's sort of my goal, but again, we'll see. All right, so that was a pretty poor roll, 17.91. 17,910. Okay, so I mean, not terrible. It's above the total percentage that we had last time. It's just this 100x is just like absolutely blowing the average out. Okay, now let's go and switch to this one, and we will do the 10x's. So what I'll do is just average this out first, do a nice even 10, and then let's do the 10x's. So let's see. Let's hope this one does better than the 100x. But again, this is the anomaly that I was sort of discussing earlier, right? Where if you do hit some really good 100x's, you're going to get really good rolls on your business. But again, if you hit really poor 100x's, then you're going to have a very bad roll on your business. Okay, so we did a little bit better, 17.96. 17,960, not much better, but a little bit better. So let's get those numbers in there. 61.17, 61.34, and then 69.50. That is a really good roll, but it doesn't bring it up for the average roll too crazy. So I'm glad to see that we're still shooting better on the average rolls with the 1x's. So that works for me. Now let's upgrade. Oops. And we are looking at 470. So 470. So 28670. Oops. 286,700. Okay, there we are. Then let's get back. Let's do the 1x's on this first. So the excitement continues. And sorry if you hear a lot of like noise in the background. There are a lot of noisy motorcycles in Thailand. I don't know. It's got to be something the cool kids like to do. Drill out their exhaust pipes or something so they make some extra noise. But you'll every once in a while hear some noisy vehicles going by in the background. So when that happens, I do try to mute my mic. That way it's not picked up too much. But unfortunately, it's I don't live in a soundproof world, so you will likely get some of the background noise. Alrighty, about 20% done. just keep clicking. I was hoping to get this video out, so it should be out before the start of this next blitz. As you can see, we've got 2 days, 2 hours left. So as soon as I'm done this, I'll probably just upload it right away. At least this will give, the player that is sort of looking for a definitive answer on the best way to level up their businesses. Hopefully this will give them some more insight and make them more aware of the RNG that is possible on your leveling up rolls. So hopefully that'll maybe skew some people's opinion towards either the 1x, maybe the 100x does come out on top, and that's what people decide to do. But I have a feeling like we'll see the 1x and the 10x sort of be the top choice once the numbers come out here. So perhaps that's, what people are going to start doing for competitions. And I think that's where it really matters. Even like when I'm doing the competitions, I've got the cool cats. I'll do the 10x's, right? I don't really want to do the 1x's again, just because it is a lot of clicking. I do the 1x's though, if I'm running a bank or a museo or, a Felice or any of those big businesses, right? And they're higher quality. I'm 100% always doing the 1x on those. That's what my plan is. And then when it comes to some of the support businesses, or even when it's like you're leveling up just to push to the next prestige, typically I will sort of do the 10x's, that way, unless I have enough gold just to get it to the next prestige, then I will do the 100x and push it up as quick as possible. But typically it's the 1x for my top 2, maybe top 3 businesses, depending on what the blueprint gods decide to give me. And then the 10x on pretty much everything else until I need to pull up some businesses for prestige requirements. And then it's usually 100x's. Just because, when you hit a couple bad 100x's, but your 3 prestige is lower, you're just going to the next prestige and doing it all over again, right? So it doesn't really affect your city's gold production. That's where it's like, okay, it doesn't really matter. Just hit it with the 100x. Okay. So almost there. About 160 or 150 levels left to go here. There we go. So 110 left, and then we will be done with this one, thankfully. Maybe after we get this trial done, we could take a look. Perhaps I will change it up for the last 2. I'll increase the quality, see if I can get these to like quality 3 or something. That way we have a little bit of a difference in the top end, and then we can see how well they roll. Personally, maybe it's better if we just do a fresh set of 3 trial on some quality 3s or quality 4s. But I'll think about it as we finish these up. I am sort of leaning though towards maybe that's a good idea. We'll just hop into the workshop, increase the quality on these, and that way it's a little bit more definitive there. Okay, so we've got 174,000. So 17461. 174,610. So yeah, a little bit above average there. Okay, let's go to this one. I think you were the 100x that we did last time, so let's switch back to doing 10x's. All right. Looks like we're at about 1. What do we got? 17194. 171. Okay, so a little bit under. Still not too bad. And then let's do the 100x. So let's just do this first. Actually, no, because if I accidentally click. There we go. Yeah, of course. We get another pretty solid roll there, which will put the average up. So 19469. So that's a 67%. Okay. Well, that's going to definitely put the 100x's in the lead there. And then we are at 59.97. So those last two trials definitely helped. We got some pretty solid rolls again for the 100x. So let's try one more time here. Actually, you know what? Let's see. We've got the last two trials. You know what? We might as well just continue the way we are. I don't want to skew the data. So quality ones moving forward. Let's do the 100x's again. We're at 4.56. Okay. 456. So 2781600. Okay. And then we rolled 152. 152. Okay, so that's a more reasonable. Let's just put that in there. 54.64. 64. And then let's do the 1x again. Let's go down to this guy. Let's do the 1x on this. Another 2 minutes of clicking here. Drink some water while we wait. There we go. Definitely got to stay hydrated here. So let's see, when we hit 100, should be able to get a projection. So looking at, well, we'll probably trend close to 1.5 as well on this. I mean, it'd be super nice if we could get a really high roll. Now, that's the thing I found with the 1x, though. It typically trends fairly close to about a 60% roll with what the percentages of efficiency is on the leveling up. Even when I was doing this before, just to figure out which is the best route to go. Just because to me, you know, the 100x, I mean, we've been lucky these last few leveling up sequences that it's rolled fairly well, but you know, you can also roll really poorly. So that's where, you know, you don't really want to chance it on your best business. You know, if you get a really bad 100x roll and you only have like 3 100x rolls you can do, you know, as you get to that next prestige in a competition and you burn your gold out and you've got really poor rolls, you know, you're going to be sort of upset with yourself if you do hit those really low averages. Now, again, if you hit a really high average, of course, you're going to be super happy. But, you know, it's not guaranteed when it comes to using the 100x. So we'll see. Again, this is where the numbers hopefully will tell. If we can, I mean, maybe we'll have to do some outlier analysis. Maybe I drop the two best from each just to be able to keep them close, and then we could see what the averages are. But we'll do the full trial first of all 5, and then maybe drop a couple outliers, because those last 2 trials definitely on the 100x are outliers. Unless it's going to prove me wrong, and the next time I do it, next sequence of leveling up, we get another solid roll, then maybe it's just my lucky day, I guess. But yeah, typically I would say those would be 2 outliers. So maybe we pull one or maybe both out just to see what the averages are after that. Alrighty, getting close. There we are, probably about 70% done here. So yeah, we're probably gonna hit maybe 1.54, somewhere around there, 1.4. Hopefully it's over 1.45, but again, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, if there's any other videos you guys want, drop them down below in the comments too, or make sure you drop them in one of the Discords, and tag me in it. I'll try to add it to my list. That way, I can try to address any of the other concerns or questions on that topic. I know there was also a question about factions and the faction bonuses, so I'm also going to talk a little bit about that. We did just get the update in the news bulletin on the Main City Discord that it's going to be a 10% cash bonus for both factions in this next competition. And then I believe it was, actually, let me just pull it up on my phone. So it was, we're getting, so cash income bonus is 10%. The diamond production bonus is 2%, and furniture XP bonus is 2%. So yeah, being 10%, that cash bonus hopefully will incentivize people to choose a faction finally. So it doesn't matter which faction, right? I think that was sort of the dumb plan that they had. Let's make a different faction bonus, so people will choose a faction. It ended up just making people choose the one with cash. So now that it's all the same, hopefully we're good across the board. So that actually resulted pretty good. So 1.69. Let me just go put that in. 169. Is that correct? Yeah. So there we go. So you can see this is hitting pretty consistent at the 60s, right? 67.6. Okay, and then we will do the 10x. So this one and this one was done, right? We're at prestige 3, I believe. Yep. So this one is now the 10x. So let's upgrade, get it to an even number. And let's do the 10x's. See if this one can roll over 169. Yeah, let me know what faction you guys plan to fight for. I mean, everybody knows I'm Legion diehard, so that's where I help run the Legion Discord, and so that's the faction I'll be fighting for. There's no ifs, ands, or buts on that. But yeah, drop down below in the comments if you care to share which faction you'll be signing your allegiance to, now that the bonuses are going to be the same. So 1.78. So that was a pretty good roll there. Let's get that input in there. And look at that. So that's a really good roll for the 10x's. So let's get that number input. 0.3. There we go. So pretty even, pretty neck and neck. If we do delete these, I feel like we will see the 100x fall off pretty quick. But again, let's finalize this, And let's go back. This is the first one that did the 100x. So let me see. We've got 44.26. So 44,260. Okay, and then that is 26998,600. Okay, and you can see how every prestige, right? It's basically a 10x, right? So this drops by 10. A sum of 10 there, or sorry, a factor of 10, just because of how the prestiging works, right? It increases your income potential by that 10x, or I guess 9.7 or something like that for commons. Okay, let's start off with the 100x on this one. Let's just get it over and done with. That way we could see what the numbers sort of result out at. So probably be looking at about 17.3, 1732. Another anomaly, but what can you do, I guess, right? So 64. I mean, it's a little bit lower than these other two, so I think maybe we will still remove one of the best just to get a better idea. Probably just delete this trial altogether because it was sort of on the high average across the board for all of them. Let me go back then. Let's do this guy for the 1x. So yeah, maybe there's some reason to do 100x, but again, I don't advise it personally. I think that it's a very high risk, high reward sort of gamble, and I don't really like doing that on my best businesses because if, like I was saying earlier, if the risk ends up, paying out really poorly on the reward, then I'm sort of stuck with a pretty terrible roll on a business that I expect to be doing a little bit better, pulling its weight a little bit more for my city. So that's where I would say, definitely consider it a high risk, high reward sort of play. But I think, if we were to project a bit here, I think the end result here is going to probably show the 10x is your best advantage. Most people I know say that they like to stick with the 10x. Again, that's, because it's got a good combination of being a bit more efficient with your time, as well as it being also a bit better when it comes to the law averages and getting you to a little bit better of a roll. And it's a little bit less luck dependent. So, I think that's the way Maine.city kind of designed it, like the developers, Sepico. I think their plan behind it was like, if you put in the time to do the clicks, then you're going to get a little bit better advantage. Right. So if you just, typically do the max or 100x, that's where you're going to see a little bit worse rolls for yourself, a little bit worse of a city. But again, maybe once we're done this, maybe I'll promote a few more and increase their quality. And then we can run just a quick 3 trial at the end here with some quality 4s or something like that. I mean, I got the diamonds and I need the cool cats in Division 1 anyways, so I don't mind promoting a few more cool cats. Though maybe I'll take a quick look and see. Maybe I'll pause the video just to do a quick inventory assessment and see if I've got something a bit more, something like a resort or something along those lines that is still in Division 1 that I could maybe do some leveling up on just to show you guys the differences. Okay, we're about nearing the 2/3 mark here. What was the other one? 17. So it was another good roll. I mean, I don't know if we're going to... This one might get to like 18. I would love it if it hit 18 or 19. But I'm not holding my breath at this point. I think we're unfortunately not hitting the best. It'll probably hit pretty close though to what the that past 100x roll just got, which was like what, 64%. So been rolling really good on those 100x's. Of course it does that. I've been sitting here trashing 100x, pretty much the whole video, and of course it's been like rolling really well, being like, oh yeah, you want to trash me? I'll make sure everybody knows that I'm the only way to do it. So completely screw up my whole experiment here. It's all good. It's all fun. We might not even hit 17. Been doing some terrible rolls here. Getting close though. Yeah, I think we might hit like 16.5 if we're lucky. Got 20 more rolls. Yeah, so we're going to probably hit somewhere in the low 16s. 16. Wow, we barely made 16. Okay, so 16.118. 16.18. So that was the worst. Oh no, I guess trial 1 was the worst for that. So let's put that in 15.9. 3, and then we will get that final 10x done. So that one, and then this one's the 10x. Just round it off to the 10. And hopefully this rolls a little bit better than the 100x. I'd like to see this come out at like 19. Okay, so that's about the halfway point. So that's not a very good sign when it was at 7. That's trending at like 15. So yeah, I don't think we're going to roll very well on this one. Yeah, we rolled really bad. That's some really poor rolls there. 14.88. So let's see. 14.880000. There we go. So 55.11. Okay. So, I mean, this shows then that our 100x is the winner. We did have a few, like I said, kind of outliers. This isn't, I mean, this is sort of typically what I would have expected from it. But, having 3 out of 2, 3 out of the 5 being above 60, that just shows, there is a good chance you can roll pretty well. What I want to do now is, let's just try this. So, let's do the 1x. Well, I'm just going to take the ones that are closest to the, well, let's just do this. So I'm going to go, just take this one. Yeah. Oops. Oh, come on. Okay, so I'm going to do this as an outlier. So these 2 trials I'm going to call outliers here. That way I can just sort of eliminate 2, bring us down to a normal 3. And then autofill suggestion. And then this one. Actually, I'll do the 4 since I already am doing that. And that way we can eliminate that one that was 69. It was a little bit high. That way we can do this. And then let's get the average roll again. So it does change it a little bit. Again, we're looking at this being a little bit higher, I think, than what we normally would see. So let me just delete this right out of there. And you could see how much it drops, right? So with this in, this being a very high roll for that one, I think, what we should do is maybe, this is how they always play funny numbers, right? Let's do this. Let's delete these. And let's delete this low number. Oh, whoops. Not that fully. Let's delete this, and we will delete that. And there you go. There's some nice funny skewed numbers. Deleting a few of the outliers. But again, I think, this is what you would probably typically see for the breakdown, which is why I say, it's probably better just to stick with your 10x's. You can see it's slightly under with the full data set, but if we eliminate some of these outliers, specifically the 69 and the 67, which are very unlikely to be rolled. I say that as I have 3 in the 60s for the 100x, but again, this is sort of where the numbers pan out. What I think I'm going to do now, though, is let's just do a whole copy here. And let's do this with, how much time have we got elapsed here? Okay, 47 minutes already. So let me just do a couple quick trials then with some higher qualities. So let me see if I could just, I'll be right back, 1 sec. All right, so got her set up here. I figured let's just do a quick 3 trial. I think the results of the 1 and the 10x are similar enough that we can conclude that the 1x and the 10x are fairly basically the same. So there's not really too much reason to do a 1x over a 10x. This is going to save me hopefully a couple of minutes when it comes to doing these trials. Now, I went ahead after some painful merging, which I did not include in this video, and I didn't capture actually. I did get these up to quality 5. This is primarily because I want to do a increased quality video as well. So let's see what the 10x versus the 100x does in a 3 trial, just to get a definitive answer if you should be using 100x or if you should be using the 10x. And then if the 10x wins here, I think it's also goes to say it should also be 1x's will work, right? That should be the conclusion you guys should draw here. So I'm going to start with this one. We will do the 10x. I've already input that the top end is 7 here for your range. So let's do a couple of 100x's. Let's get this rolled out. Not bad. So 2.05. Go down. So 2050. There we go. So that's what I would typically see or would expect to see when it comes to these types of rolls. So let's put in 42.01. Let me just tab over and delete these as well. And let's just delete that to make sure I remember. Okay, then let's go and do the 10x's. Let me just round it out. So far, I think we're going to be trending a little bit better here, and this should definitely show you the difference. So this is kind of nice. You can see it's actually 8.5 So I mean, really, I should be putting in 8.5 instead of just 8 flat. But let's see if it goes any further. No, it is 8.5 for the roll on these higher quality businesses. So let me just do that. What did we get? 3.09. So 3090. Here we go. Let me just put in the 8.5 and see if that significantly changes this. So it does a bit. I'm just going to run with the 8 though. That's what I was doing before. That was what the 1x roll value was. So let's run with that. So this was actually a pretty good roll. 63.32. Okay. Now let's prestige them. And what do we got? 82. Yeah, 82.4. I'll just do 82. So 82. It's 5002. So 50020. Okay. Then let's flip it. So I think this was the 10x last time, so let's do the 100x on this. So all right, what are we gonna 21.89, so 21.890. So again at that 43.76. Okay, and then let's do the 10x. So this is where you can really see the difference of using a 10x or a 1x in the as well versus the 100x. You know, when the higher quality businesses come into play, that's where you want to be doing these 1x's and 10x clicks. So I'm glad I also decided to include this in the video. Otherwise, a lot of people might have come away with the conclusion that I should just be doing the 100x and the 10x isn't really going to be helping me all that much. So I think we'll see throughout this trial duration that you're going to get a lot better scores from rolls just by doing at least the 10x, right? I didn't want to do 1x all over again. Otherwise, we'd be at like a 2-hour video. So we're at 27.60. So 27.600. So a little lower, 55.18. Okay. And then let's prestige them again. So what do we got here? 799. That brings us to 48. 7390. Let's do the 100x on this one because I know this was the 10x from last time. And that way we flip-flop back and forth so there's no outlier of like one business just being a better one that rolls better. So you can't, it's randomized. So 29112. So 29112. leave 291 29120. Yeah, okay. So not a bad roll. That one definitely rolled above average, so that's going to bring the averages up here. So let's put that in. And then let's do the last one. All right. And then let's just round this one out. And thank God we're not doing the 1Xs. That's where I was like, okay, I can make 2 quality 5 businesses. I couldn't make a third quality 5. I mean, I could probably if I wanted to try, but I decided that this is probably the best way forward. we saw from the earlier results that the 1x and the 10x were pretty similar. So I think it just makes sense just to run forward with the 10x. So 26019. So that one did get a good roll. That was some good 100x rolls there. So that definitely skewed it a bit, but it needed a good skewing. Oh, whoops, that's the wrong number. Why am I typing that in? 53.38. Okay, so you can see we've rolled about, 9% better just by doing the 10x's compared to the 100x. And if we were to remove these as the outliers, because that is a pretty significant outlier there, I think we would see again that the 10x is going to be going up quite a bit. So let me just Control X, Control V. All right, so there's the difference between those. That's 17% there, almost 16%ish. So that's the difference if we don't count the poor roll on the 10x and the really good roll on the 100x. But if we do count that, we're looking at about a 9% difference. So I think that goes to show, even though we did have some really good rolls up here with the 100x that kind of skewed the results, I think we can definitively say that using the 100x is the worst option, and you want to go between either the 10x, which seems to be about the best mediocre one if you're looking for a time saver plus good rolls. And then if you have time, I think the 1x, if we did take a look at what the 1x would do, maybe we'll do one quick trial right now just to see. So let's do one more trial. I'll level this up and we'll do 1x versus 10x just for one trial just to see who wins. So this is trial 4. Just Control C. Okay, and I'll just use this. So this will be the 1x. This will be 10x. Okay, and we are looking at 7.75. Okay. 7.75. Okay, so then that theoretical is 4727500. Okay, and then let's just do some 1x's on this. And this is where I want to show that I think maybe we will get a slightly better result than what the 10x is by doing the 1x. But again, it's going to be very close. I don't think it's going to be a significant difference. So, moving forward, I think my stance is going to be, do the 10x on the majority of your businesses and you'll be fine. I'm probably going to stick to the 1x. Somehow DJ Oracle converted me to a 1x clicker. Even though the first video I saw of his, I bugged him a bit on it in the comments, being like, oh man, it's so tedious watching you do those 1x clicks. And then, lo and behold, about 3 months after that, he had convinced me that it was the superior way to go, especially as the quality of businesses changed and increased the randomicity or the RNG factor within the rolls. So it did become a little bit more advantageous to do those 1x clicks opposed to just doing the 10x. Now, personally, I never did the 100x's. I did stay away from that except for bringing up businesses to prestige. So I did use it on my cool cats, but on my main businesses, I do not use the 100x. And as you can see from those past results there, there's a 9% difference, with that being one really skewed result from the very last trial there. Otherwise, it'd be closer to almost 20% difference. And that's why I typically stick with like the 1x's and the 10x's. And then hopefully with this, we will see that the 1x clicking is the more advantageous one. It's going to get hopefully a couple percentages higher But again, we'll see what the difference is here. But I'm glad I didn't do this for another full 3 trials. It would be way too long. The video would have ended up being probably another 20 minutes, 30 minutes longer, just because of how long it takes just to do these single clicks. Alrighty, getting to about the halfway point. I can't remember what the max number was that we said. I think it was something like 2.5, something like that, 2.5 million. So hopefully we're getting pretty close to that max. I mean, if that's the case, we're rolling pretty good. We're definitely rolling around, I think, 70% right now. So we'll see if that's where we end up landing. If we do, that would be nice. And then if we get the 10x to sort of land around 60, 65-ish, and this be about a couple percent more, I think you would see hopefully the difference that, one, the increase in quality provides you above the quality ones like we did in the first set of trials, and how important the quality of your business is, as well as the factor of the RNG, and how the higher the quality, the more clicks you want to do, because it is going to result in likely better income rolls. But again, that's why I stuck with the 10x. It seemed to be fairly similar to the 1x. So I think, if you are constrained for time, don't result to 100x. Just do the 10x's. That's your best bet. And then hopefully this little trial here is going to definitively prove that doing the 1x is still superior to the 10x's. So we got about 160 clicks left. I think my hand only has about maybe 400 clicks left in it today. Certainly a little tired. Definitely, at least I've got some more Division 1s, prepared and ready to go here. So it just comes down to me getting these back up to my current prestige, which is, I think I'm at 64. You can see those 2 notifications in the inbox. I've been slacking on my attacking while I was doing this video. So hopefully it doesn't hurt me too much. I should be able to push to the next prestige, though. I was sort of just waiting on the titanium to collect so I can go through and do all of my prestige requirements. And then I can push my first business, which is my Leo & Co., up to the next prestige. All right, so we're getting to the end of this one. Just about there, and then I will just do the 10x's right after this. Okay, so we're at 272. So let me just go put that in this sheet. Oh, it was 4. Okay, so 272. I think that's what we're looking at. There we go. That was not a very good roll then. All right, then let's do this one. 10x is going. I mean, maybe this is going to change how I play as well. Maybe I'll go back to 10x's. This might convince me otherwise, because so far this is looking a lot better than what we had with the other one. So we'll see. Maybe not. Let's just finish this one off. It's 247. Okay, well, there you go. So that's the difference between them. All right, so those 1x's did result in about an extra 5% above the 10x, which, I mean, these were pretty low rolls compared to what we had earlier here for the 10x. I mean, sort of in the average, still a little bit under, but this is sort of in the average between these two. So that's a pretty good result. So to me, I mean, it does speak that, doing these 1x's, right, you're going to get that little bit extra out of it if you have the time. Again, this should be more dramatic as the quality or the tier of the business goes up, right? So if you're looking at some epics or legendaries, the 1x's are going to help you more than what the 10x's are, I think. So let's just flip back to this Excel sheet. So that's sort of what I'm seeing here, right? This final little trial here does give you an idea of like this still shot above the 52, but we're looking at 57 here for your 1x's. I was hoping to see something in the 65 range, but again, it is all RNG. There's no guarantee that you're going to get good rolls. Really, all of what this does is just increases the amount of rolls so that hopefully you're closer to the average, right? The average obviously being the 50% mark. And we can see that for the most part, all of them will roll above the 50% mark, except for, these pretty poor rolls there. So your 100x is sort of lower on average as the quality increases, but it seems to do quite well with the quality 1, right? So I better just label that so I remember what I was looking at. Q1s versus Q5. Okay, and then I'm just going to switch these back. Actually, we'll just put this here. So this was 10x, this was 100x, and then final trial. All right, so that's the results. I think moving forward, I'm still probably going to do the 1x's on my best businesses, and then maybe switch to doing 10x's on some of my lower preferred ones, right? So if I had like a quality 3 den, I'd probably do the 10x's. And again, this is also one of the big things you need to keep in mind. Let me just bring it up here. Is that each business does have its own range. So there are some that have very narrow ranges, right? So if we look here, this is your base gold production, right? So this is what it's going to do when it increases. So your increment of cash production per level. So this is your typical quality 1 increase, right? So if we looked at the Barbary Gym, it's a 3 and a 4. Right, so it's a very narrow. That's where your 10x's and maybe even your 100x's are warranted. But as this goes up in quality, this number is going to get bigger, and that's where the spread of your clicking is going to change. Right, so that's where you want to slowly lower your clicking down to like the 1x or the 10x from the 100x. But, something like the Lions Den Resort, again, it's a 7 and a 10 spread here. Pretty narrow. That's where a 10x is going to be really advantageous. But if you look at something like the Felice, that's a spread of 6 versus spread of 3, right? So that's where you want to be doing your 1x's, and definitely no more than a 10x, right? Especially as you increase the quality, this number is going to get bigger. Same here. So you can result in getting better rolls by doing the law of averages and being able to click more and more. So that's where, a lot of the top players swear by 1x's, because you're clicking more, it's going to average out a little bit better. And we did see that happen here in this final trial of the 10x versus 1x, as well as what we saw here from the 100x being around the 50% mark versus the 10x being closer to the 57, getting near that 60%, right? So similar to what we saw in that final trial. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. This is a very long video. Hopefully it was what you guys were looking for to help explain some of these metrics when it comes to your leveling up styles. And let me know if this has convinced you otherwise to maybe abandon the 10x and go for a 1x, or hopefully it's deterred you completely from doing the 100x. But I mean, at the quality 1 trial, maybe it's incentivizing you, which isn't the way I would interpret the data here. I think we would look at the second set that you see below there, where I just took the 3 normal trials and pulled out one of the major outliers completely. Like one trial was just a complete outlier that I removed, being the top end. And then I just took the 4 trials, removed the 3 data sets from each trial that was sort of outlier there. And you can see that it's a 60, a 60, and a 56. So it should show you that you are going to get at least a 4% gain, by doing the 10x and the 1x versus doing the 100x. And then, that's all I really got for you. As you increase quality, make sure you're doing more clicks opposed to less. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely leave me a like and put some down in the comments below what you guys think, and if there's any other videos that you want me to dive into, especially when it comes to some of these main city mechanics. Anyways, we'll catch you guys in the next one, and good luck in the Nightmare Blitz.